Hi everyone, welcome to Anthony's Career Advice. My name is Anthony, and you guessed it, I'm going to be providing you with career advice. Today's topic has to do with something that we're all affected by, and that's stress. Stress can come in a lot of different shapes and sizes, and especially at work, we sometimes can't pinpoint, is it tied to a project, a task, or a person or people, right? It comes in many forms and sometimes can have long-lasting effects on us. So the hope I have for today's video is that it provides you with some tips and strategies of how to be able to cope with stress in real time and build strategies around it. So let's get started here. The first and foremost, the thing to consider is we have to accept the stressor, right? Accepting means that we're reducing the level of surprise. And that's important, right? Because we can sometimes go through a day of work, having a challenging day, and assume that the following day will be better, but we don't have a reason for that to take place or reason for that to be true. And then when the following day hits, that stressor is there again, and it impacts us quite severely. So first and foremost, we have to accept the stressor. We have to accept that this is a problem. We have to accept that we have to learn how to deal with it, cope with it. Once we do that, we can start moving on to the next phase. Now, keep in mind, accepting doesn't mean doing nothing, and it doesn't mean trying to tell yourself or condition yourself that it's fine. It just means that I can't really be surprised by this anymore. Okay, at least that's how I interpret it. Then the next step is well, what is the stressor? And is it possible to avoid it? Now, avoiding is easier when it comes to people, right? And even then, whether it's a colleague or if it's a manager, avoiding doesn't necessarily mean breach of communication or a total complete stoppage of communication. What it means is saying, is there a way of being able to limit the amount of time and energy spent on this stressor? If so, how can I do so in a productive way? And that's what you're conditioning yourself to. Saying until things change or until I feel better, I have to limit the exposure where and possible to do so. Same can be said about tasks. We can try to park tasks or purposefully procrastinate on a few tasks to avoid having to do them if they're not detrimental to an overall process, which can kind of tie into time management. But avoiding typically is more useful around one of the bigger stressors that we have at work is interpersonal communication and communication with individuals. So it's important to take that into consideration. So we go from accepting to can I avoid the stressor? Next is, well, is there a way of altering, right? Altering can mean how can I make a meaningful change that allows me to progress and move forward, but also gives me enough power to be able to say with a certain degree of confidence that I can compromise in a situation. And that could be with people or it can be with tasks or projects, especially if you feel overworked or you feel like you're doing more than you're capable of, or every week feels like it's a 50 or 60-hour work week, and this is not sustainable. To be able to consider altering is to look at possibly time management, being able to say, have I prioritized my time well? Am I overthinking things? Am I putting way too much stock? Or even if it's the opposite and I'm being told that things are a lot bigger and need a lot more attention. Being able to compromise means understanding that you are just one person who can do as much as reasonably possible, even if being reasonable is going at 110%, which I don't think it is. 100% is reasonable, but it's for being able to say, if I'm going above that, how can I alter the situation? Which is a key component and a key step. And the next one is adapt. This is the one you would consider where when you feel like you've tried everything and nothing seems to be working as you had hoped, you say, okay, so I'm going to go back to thinking about accepting in order to adapt. How long will this matter for? Is this something that's short-lived? And if so, can I just accept that it's going to be a challenge, that there will be some level of sacrifice, which is very hard to do. It's not easy, and it's not necessarily the first thing we'd like to do, which is why I listed it as the fourth thing to consider. But when we are adapting, we also have to take kind of like a bird's eye view of our situation and say, what am I learning from this experience? Right? Especially if it's a new one. What can I learn about how to avoid this in the future, whether it's with my current employer or if my career takes me someplace else. So adapting means, am I comfortable pushing myself? And if so, at what level? Is it possible to see how far this can go without compromising my health and well-being? And if so, then I'm going back to accepting, that this is what's necessary from a temporary perspective. Now, this is a good 4-step process if you're experiencing something for the first time, or if you're finding that you're acknowledging that there seems to be a common theme. Now, it doesn't solve absolutely everything, but it's a short little 4-step process to be able to look at whatever's causing you stress and see how you can cope and make subtle changes in real time and see the impact. I hope this video was helpful, and like always, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks everybody, and have a great day.